One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Now that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com. One of our favorite sponsors is back. It's springtime, and it's time to freshen up that wardrobe that you've had hanging in that dingy old closet all year.
How do you know it's dingy?
Because most closets are dingy. Ain't nobody in the closet doing dusting or vacuuming inside the closet.
My closet's immaculate.
Okay, anyway, you should go to shoptourbus.com and check out what they got.
What they got?
The coolest Grateful Dead inspired merch on the online lot or the regular lot anywhere. You're not going to find cooler stuff. I promise you that.
They make hand-screened apparel and merch inspired by the band beyond description. And it's all uniquely packaged and shipped with love from Bridgeport, Connecticut. What more could you want?
They're putting together the Dark Star pre-orders right now, and they're being packed with exclusive 5-inch holographic vinyl slabs, bootlegs, pencils, sweet treats, and some magic diamond disco rings. I mean, what's cooler than that? Go to shoptourbus.com or at shoptourbus on Instagram. You'll see what we're talking about. And when you finally purchase something from them and you're checking out, put in the promo code No Simple Road.
No Simple Road, all one word.
And you are going to get free shipping from their family to our family to you, from us and them, all of us together doing something cool. Shoptourbus.com.
Act quickly.
So next weekend on Friday, we're going to be going to see Phish up at Climate Pledge Arena. And I've never been to Climate Pledge before. And there's lots of things that I want to know about Climate Pledge, but I don't want to ask like some dusty ass wook day of the show out in Pike's Place Market.
First thing I know about Climate Pledge Arena is that they've got a dope coffee shop right next to it.
Well,
KXEP,
if
right
you
there.
knew that, you could go to venuelama.com and you could put that into the Llama base. So this is called venuelama.com. It's an online resource that provides live music fans the insider venue info they need. It's a place where fans can quickly rate venues and share various tips and intel about those venues. Like, I don't know, help me out.
How the security is something I always think about.
That's a biggie.
Where's the closest bathroom?
What's the bathroom sitch like?
Yeah.
What's the parking situation like?
That's another big one. That's the I don't want to ask the Dusty Wook in Pike's Place Market about the parking. They're gonna be like, I don't know, man.
I don't got a car,
$5.
man.
Exactly. Can I borrow yours? Head over to venuelama.com. That's VENUELLAMA.com to sign up for your free Llama account and start rating and sharing your insider venue info today. Llamas can also list their favorite scene-friendly businesses, websites, or podcasts on the VL Friends page. Venue Llama is currently compiling its Llama base with as much helpful information as possible on venues for the following upcoming tours: Dead & Company, Phish, Widespread Panic, Billy Strings, and Goose. Head over, check out the exclusive beta version of Venue Llama today at venuelama.com/NSR. That's VENUELLAMA.com/NSR.
I'm a llama.
No, you're not. we're sitting here looking at the specials for Fire on the Mountain, like talking about how awesome all this shit looks, and I'm like, why are we recording this, man? You guys should go over to Fire on the Mountain if you live in Denver or Portland. I'm just saying, now's the time. They just dropped all their specials for this month, and holy shit, man. Just hip them up, Apple.
Yeah, well, at the Fremont location, grilled skirt steak with balsamic reduction and all kinds of other stuff going on. Honey crisp apple fritters with a sugar glaze.
No. Take me to the deep fried thing.
They got a bitchin' salad at Interstate. So many things, you got to look this up. But then here, there is the fried samosa Girl Scout cookies topped with powdered sugar.
Mel?
My favorite Girl Scout cookie. And then you do that deliciousness to it.
Apple said, I'm going to drive over to Jordan's house and punch him in the mouth.
I said punch him. I didn't say the mouth. Oh,
man.
That's rude.
If you weren't hungry before we started talking, you are now. Go check out Fire on the Mountain if you're here in Portland. 3 locations, 2 in Denver. And hey, if you're not over here in one of these places, don't be sad. Go to portlandwings.com. Order yourself some of the sauces. Get yourself
dope merch.
One of their hats, man. I want one of those.
Their socks are dope too.
Yeah, that's true.
I really like the socks. You like the trucker hat, and then they have those dope cups too. They've got the new silly pint.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
because they're silicone pints.
Yeah, silly pint, just in time for spring.
You could drop it on the floor and then it won't break.
Yeah,
those are great camping ones.
And then if you're still hungry after all that, then you can go over to the Burnside location and get a Reuben burger.
Okay,
damn.
So you feel what you picking up what we're putting down? I think you are. Go check out Fire on the Mountain. It is the Grateful Dead family hooking it up and cooking it up.
Hey everyone, Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters here to let you know that my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, is back on the airwaves for Season 4, which means it's time once again to get deep with influential musicians from all across the musical landscape to really understand and translate the lessons of success, failure, inspiration, and hard work that are behind the music and the artists that we love. My guests this season include Rachel Price from Lake Street Dives, Sam Bush, Chris Wood, Chris Funk from The Decemberists, Lindsay Liu, MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger, and more. Check us out, and thanks for listening.
We're so excited to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, Music Masters Collective. They are a nonprofit organization that produces unique music events, providing opportunities for fans and artists to meet and collaborate in an inspired and creative atmosphere.
Music Masters Collective events give you the opportunity to learn from world-class musicians like Otil Burbridge, Steve Earle, Richard Thompson, former members of the band, the Milk Carton Kids, Nikki Glaspie, the Fab Four, and Sean Colvin, and so many more.
At an event like the Milk Carton Kids Sad Song Summer Camp happening this July, you can expect immersive classes, evenings of entertainment, excellent food, and a space for a lucky group of folks to learn, co-write, workshop, and perform with like-minded peers, all with the guidance of Kenneth Pattengale, Joey Ryan, and some of their favorite songwriters. This all-inclusive week in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York is guaranteed to be magical. Scholarships are available and spots are extremely limited, so visit www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple to learn more. That's www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple. Check it out. We did it.
What do we do?
I promised it was coming out on Tuesday, and it's Tuesday.
Welcome, everybody. Tuesday is the start of your new work week.
Hey, no support family. Yeah, we're a day late. if you didn't see the Instagram post, the reason that we're a day late is because Apple wasn't here.
He was out of town.
Well, it still is.
Yeah.
He got stuck actually in Fresno, of all places on the planet. Yeah. He got stuck in Fresno at the airport. And yesterday, Mel and I.
What about our edible beats?
Oh, I forgot all about it.
I didn't.
I rolled right into it.
I first want to say, before we get into the meat of this, we want to say thank you to our sponsor of our Monday Rewind.
They are our collaborators.
You're right. They sponsor us, but not in the traditional way. They're a collaborator, and we are able to bring you these weekly rewinds because of the Edible Beats.
Out of Denver, Colorado.
That's right.
If you don't know who the Edible Beats are or what it is, you should go online and just Google the Edible Beats, Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
And you're going to find an entire world of restaurants and business thought and everything under the sun that is amazing is what they stand for. And it's an honor for No Simple Road to be partnered with them and bringing you the No Simple Road weekly rewind every week with them producing the show with us.
That's right.
And we actually have news on that front, but before we get to that,
what you're going to leave
it's
that
called
news?
A tease.
A tease?
Yeah.
Fine.
They're
I
all
teased
out
it
there
a couple weeks ago, and Aaron was like, "No, you can't talk about it right now."
Well, we didn't know.
Fine, that's fine.
Anyway,
back
we're
to
a day
Apple.
late, and we went on Instagram yesterday and told everybody, "Hey, we're not putting the episode out on Monday because Apple is stuck in Fresno. He'll be back tonight. No big deal. We'll do it tomorrow, and we'll get it out on Tuesday."
Yeah.
Well, that didn't happen.
40 texts later that Aaron got.
3 phone calls. And you know what, though? I'm going to shout my brother out because in the past, if this would have happened to Apple, he would have been a mess.
What? Okay, you have to qualify that.
He would have been totally stressed out. I would have heard his voice quivering. He would have been freaking out. And he handled this like a freaking champ.
I haven't had correspondence with him, so I don't know how he's
super
dealt with
chill,
it, but
totally relaxed.
Wow.
I was pleasantly shocked.
And this is on the heels of a family wedding, which everybody who has a family knows that can be really amazing or not so much. Just, family tends to bring out the stress in us.
The best and the worst.
The best, absolutely, and the worst. And Apple hasn't seen his mom in a few years.
Like 3.
He hasn't seen his dad in a couple years. Mm-hmm. He hasn't seen his nephew in quite some time, and his aunts and people that were going to be there. So he was already kind of anticipating some of that, a little, stress and excitement. Because I think sometimes when you're stressed, it's not always negative. It's you're that nerve and that anxiety that comes up.
It's called nerve-sighted.
Nerve-sighted, exactly. So he already kind of had that. And then he was nervous about flying. I will say that. He was kind of nervous to go on the trip when it was like the day for him to go and we were about to take him. He's like, I haven't been really talking about the trip too much because I'm kind of nervous about the flight and blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe it was a premonition.
But he was supposed to be back Monday night and at like 11 o'clock or whatever. And at 9 o'clock, I got a text from him. It just said, canceled, staying. They can't get me out till Tuesday. I'm renting a car and fucking driving home. And so this morning I talked to him. He rented a car in Fresno and started driving his ass home. And
wow.
It's Monday right now for us at like 5 o'clock. So he's got about 4 hours left on the road. It was about an 11-hour drive for him in total.
Wow. So we are sitting here in the studio while Apple is driving home to us. And honestly, I think this is the best thing that could have ever happened for him. Like,
really?
Yeah.
Why?
So since we moved here, none of us get that much alone time.
Okay.
And also, he recently had a surgery.
Yeah.
And when he left, I asked him, I was like, Apple, so how's your butt? And he's like,
I don't know, Mel, how's your butt?
He was like, actually, it's great. And if you guys know anything about what Apple's been going through over the past 7 years since we've been living here, I've never heard him say that.
No.
Ever. And Apple he's very honest. And also there's another part of him that if he's not like 100% good, he'll still be like, well, I'm all right. I still have like a little cough or, he'll like drag it out. No, dude. He was like, it feels good. So like when I heard that, I was like,
whoa,
wow.
That's how I felt when I spoke to him this morning.
So back on why I think this is good that this happened. It's like Apple needs this process time. He needs like not Mel, not Aaron, not Ryder, Darwin, nobody like inputting. Even his dad is like a drive by yourself after he's been healed from his problem that he's been dealing with. He got to just spend time with his mom and see his nephew get married. He's lost a shit ton of weight and he had the ability to just drive himself home and like it to me it feels like a renewal, and he needed this time to kind of like, a plane would have been just as good, a couple hours, but it's not the same thing when you're driving and you're in his old stomping ground where he's from and like seeing everything that he's like
from a different perspective.
Yeah, everything that he's come through and he's gone through and his health and his family, and like I'm sure that he's like thinking about all the friendships that he's made and the show, and like to me I think that this is like not a punishment but almost like an extended like healing process that he's going through right now. And that's why, not like good for him, he, like, we got stuck so he gets stuck. No, nothing like that. It's like good for him in the sense that he needs to like process his own shit without any other type of input, and I just think it's rad.
Yeah, it's a extended integration time for Apple to deal with the stuff that has happened with him, and
right before he also goes back to work because he's
starting a new job.
Yeah, he's starting a new job when he gets back, and so I just feel like this has all been very cosmic. It's been very in line with what Apple needs for his next steps in his journey. I think it's rad.
Yeah, when I talked to him this morning, he was just like, yeah, it sucked. Everybody was pretty chill though. And I ended up hanging out with a bunch of the people that were on the flight at the hotel, and we all got dinner together and had a couple of beers, and I made friends with a bunch of people.
So he made the best of it.
Yeah. And I'm going to go get my car and drive myself home today. It'll be all right. I was like, okay, well, love you.
We've been seeing a lot of eyebrow raise like behaviors from Apple, and well, actually just our whole life. We've these last couple months and also preceding that, these last few years have just been very transformative in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
A lot of, what are you doing? Oh, Aaron's always yells at me for being on my phone, and he is on his
a text
Apple
from
Watch.
Ryder.
He's on his Apple Watch and it's only me and him in the room. So we're having a conversation and he's totally distracted.
Ryder told me dinner's ready. I told him we were recording.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a trip to see your best friend from childhood change. Apple is one of those people in my life that is the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that I love about him, is that I can count on Apple to kind of be the same about shit no matter what.
Yeah.
And this is dope to see. Like,
it really is
cool, man.
I'm actually really excited. I just got off the phone with my mom, and she was asking about everybody in the house because she's actually coming in 2 days.
Uh-oh.
And
well,
and talking about Apple made me happy because there was so much positive to report.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like being able to tell my mom since she left, like, just fill her in briefly on what's going on, because she's coming, she'll see it for herself, but just like fill her in. It was like I almost got emotional talking about it with her.
Well, I mean, not for nothing. Our living situation is not common.
No.
People don't typically do what we've done.
No, it's extraordinary what we're doing.
Yeah.
It really is.
When anything happens with one of us here in the house, it affects everybody else in the house. And also, living so close together, we're all a mirror of each other. And so when one of us wins or something rad happens for one of us, it elevates the energy in the house.
It ripples.
Yeah. I've heard a song about that actually before.
No, but it really does. It ripples into everybody's life, I mean, think if this is what I mentioned it, and I know he's mentioned it on the show before, but him and I were in the kitchen one day and I was like, Apple, for the last almost 10 years, you've been dealing with this problem. Imagine, I mean, I was like, well, you can imagine, but think about when it's not there, all the space that it's going to free up for you to think about and do other stuff instead of just worry about your problem that you've been dealing with. And we're at that point right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the point where he's healed from his surgery. He's starting a new job. He lost, like I said, so much weight. He has a new diet that he's adhering to. Like, this is huge shit. This is life altering stuff.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of that going around.
Yes, it is.
Lately. It's a trip. And it's a big year for us. Every year is a big year for us, but it's leveling up every year.
It's turning into, well, like you said, every year's been a leveling up, and we're in the midst of doing that. And I feel as if I'm being honest, No Simple Road, in order for it to grow, needed all of us to up our game
healthy.
Personally, like whatever that meant. Yes, all of us needed to be more healthy, more mentally healthy. We needed to up, like I said, all of us needed to up our game for whatever that meant for us, like whatever we're dealing with, the shit that holds us back from doing stuff, like not liking the internet or like stupid shit. Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't like the internet, so I'm not going to play.
Yeah, like just limiting beliefs, limiting habits, behaviors, just things like that just keep you in the same space. And sometimes that's not a bad thing.
Well, I was going to say it's easy, at least for me in the past, to stay in that stuff. Like it gets comfortable. You don't have to like extend yourself out of your comfort zone. You know that you're good at the stuff that you're doing and it's fine. And that's that. And you're not reaching for anything beyond that because you're doing it. And that's I don't know. It's not a good place to be, at least for me. And it's taken me a really, really, really long time to like admit it and come to grips with it. Just not even to admit it, just to come to grips with it. That, oh, I'm doing that. That's something that I'm doing. And like I said, there's been a lot of transformational stuff going on around here. And we've been busy as shit to boot. Like the last 2 weeks were some of the most incredibly transformative time that I can remember in recent memory. Like in the last couple of years, at least, as far as the stuff that's happened.
Well, okay, so that's a perfect segue. Like, first of all, when you say transformational, what are you meaning by that?
Well, just exactly what we're talking about. Look at what happened with Apple. Just that. Just take that by itself.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, that is huge.
And then for me personally, man, it started, not maybe in early February, late January. I realized I just was in a funk about myself, and decided to not allow myself to continue to bitch about it or be bummed out about it. I was like, okay, I'm going to just do something about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
I do.
That's when I like joined the gym again and changed the way I was eating and started exercising again. And immediately I started feeling better. And, you know, you asked me the other day, you were like, so what did you get from our Phish trips?
Did I?
Yeah, you asked me that the other day. You're like, out of these last couple
I
weeks,
almost make sure to not ask you that ever again, as much as you complained about me asking. So I'm very shocked that I did that.
Yeah, you did. And
no, I didn't. I asked you how it was with your daughter. There was a specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
You sure?
I'm absolutely positive.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm trying to like
too.
Rolodex my head right now.
No, it's okay. It was fine when you asked, and I actually had an answer for you. So the reason that in the past when you would ask me that, it would be like, because it takes me a while afterwards to figure out what happened. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on in my head, so it takes me time to figure out through the noise what's going on.
Well, just to qualify before you finish your statement, for me, I forget stuff because there's so much things always happening with me. So if I don't talk about stuff in the moment when it happens, the impact wanes. I could have had literally the most amazing, epic, craziest shit that's ever happened, and the next day it is not as impactful just because I've slept and now I've talked to this person and I've gone there. And so like when we have those really transformational trips, whether they're literally out like in another location or like in our spiritual I have to talk about it and I have to like get it out to make it make sense, and also to kind of express the impact that it's had. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why.
I'm the opposite. Like for me, it's like, think about when you plug your phone in and when it's almost dead and it takes an hour or two for the battery to get fully full.
Yeah.
That's how like
I'm the quick charge.
Yeah, you are. That's how like the understanding of what goes down when we have a journey like that.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it's like unfolds over days and days, and I realize, oh, that's different. I'm different here than I was before.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's different. Okay, and then put two and two together. It's like, oh, this is what happened. Do you get what I mean by that?
It's like
detective work
because I watch it happening too.
Yeah.
You know, like you may not say anything, but behaviors change, or you know, you start acting different. So
why
like
is he eating salads every day?
Yeah. So I witness it. I might not know exactly why you've done it right at that moment, but yes, it's not a secret.
Well, but this last bit was like, I realized now it started last year at Dick's. What happened? You know, like it really did start,
and that was super amazing and transformational.
That trip was fucking wild. And
do you remember
with Nathaniel
and that
Christina and
Fernando and yep. Okay.
So yeah, last year at Dick's, Luke and I talked a little bit. Luke from the Breathwork Collective talked a little bit, and he teaches classes on like meditation and personal development stuff. And I wanted to ask him if he would like teach me, and I chickened out at the time. Like I knew I wanted to, and I should. I had like the feeling impressed on me in the moment, and totally bitched out. It's just like, nah, that's silly. You don't need to do that.
Which is so funny because you're not shy.
No.
About virtually anything
that you know about. This is a perfect example of me being like, no. You know.
Well, that's why I said about virtually anything.
Yeah. But we saw him again at the Hollywood Bowl, and just in the moment, I blurted out some stuff to him. And
when we were standing outside taking that picture?
no, inside the show when we
Okay.
saw him in the middle of, I don't know what song, dancing. I like pulled him aside in the middle of a jam and was like, laid some shit on him. I was like, when we get home, I want to start. And he was like, all right, you said it. And now we're doing it. And I was like, oh shit. And he immediately the next morning texted me and scheduled something. And, yeah, we did our first like session on Friday and it was wild. It was so cool.
First of all, to everybody who's listening, this is a really big deal. Like, in so many ways, I feel as if my dreams from years ago are coming true right now. Like, sometimes you don't get to see, and this is what being a mother is about too. Sometimes you don't get to see the development in the moment of your child or your family. And then years later, you are watching your kid graduating, walking, with their freaking diploma in their hand and, maybe getting an award for freaking, karate or whatever. Like, you don't always see these like small things that you like wish for your kids or for your spouse or for yourself for that matter. So all these things that are happening right now, even with Apple, with you, I've been like, that's been like my secret prayer to the gods, like, especially something like what you're doing right now, this meditation and breath work. Like, I mean, you did participate with me back in the day when I was into it.
We also did a bunch of breath work and meditation stuff when we're doing magic too.
Well, I wouldn't say a bunch, but it was a part of it for sure. But this is a little bit different. This is on your own accord. This is with somebody that I don't know why I feel so comfortable with that I barely know.
Me too.
I don't really know Luke that well. I know that in a million people that live in New York City, we bumped right into him like we were
walking down the street to MSG.
Literally. Then in Dick's, in the 20,000 people that are at Dick's, he walks
two rows ahead.
2 or 4 rows ahead, like right there. Like, and every time we've seen Luke, and then we walk to the Hollywood Bowl. First time ever going to the bowl. We're about to get in line to walk inside. Who do we bump into? Luke.
I was like, all right, enough's enough.
This
I get
is
the
like
hint.
3 random ass, and it's all revolved around Phish.
No, totally. 100%.
And so to see this come to fruition, and also I came home from my banjo practice on Friday, and you were still on the phone with Luke, and I was like, I am not gonna go fucking down there and like mess anything up. I was like excited, like, okay, take your banjo out and start playing, like go, like do your own fucking thing, don't you be putting like, so this is all in my head going on upstairs, but I'm like, oh my god, yes, I can't believe, like, to myself, because again, this has been like a secret prayer of mine for you to like, and we can talk about this or not, but like the way that spirituality has become, in addition to our beginnings with it and all the twisted shit that's gone on in their 25 years, the fact that this is what this is right now is, to me, the best that it could be.
The reason that like all of that stuff that you just said is like baggage that we both have around anything that has to do with that. Plus, anything that has to do with that is so like extra now. Yeah. Like everybody's extra. A fucking shaman. Yeah. This guy's a breathwork guru. Like, give me a fucking break.
Annoying.
Yeah, it's so annoying. And
well, you and I, that's why I love you so much. Like, we just need to look at each other and not even fucking say one thing. And it's like, ugh. But the voice, the fucking certifications that, and I was in that world. I know it fucking up and down.
I know. And that was what was cool about Luke, was I felt like there was none of that shit. It was somebody that actually like speaks my language, and isn't. I don't know how to even say
he's not in that energy that we have
associate with that silly shit.
Yes.
And like, but what really did it is I could feel it. I could feel just like being around him. I was like, oh, whatever this guy's doing is working.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
you could see it.
His energetic field is palpable. Like you feel his auric field, that it is, when I was in yoga, they talked about expanding and strengthening your auric field through breath work and meditation. And it does happen. There is something to be said for these people that work hard as hell in their own room where nobody's watching, meditating and breathing, where nobody's like keeping score. And when they walk out of that room and into public spaces, there's a glow. There's a feeling. There's a draw.
And for me, it was like, there's nothing wrong. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going looking for help.
No.
I'm just going like, oh, this is cool. I want to hang out. You know what I mean? Let's do some cool shit together. And I've never been in that place before. So this is completely different. Like
yes,
I'm not,
your mindset's different.
Yeah, I'm not like, oh, this is broken.
The
and
answer
I need to fix
something.
This fucking thing. And no, my life is great. I'm 51 years old, man. I've learned some things. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
and
I do.
And now let's see what happens if we do this. Like, this should be cool.
Let's go.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
It's just, like, I mean, and whoever's, has a partner out there, I think that you can kind of understand where I'm about to say is like, you see your partner, and keeping in mind that we're all mirrors of each other. Mm-hmm. When you see your partner reaching for new personal heights, there's nothing like that. There's nothing like seeing like, you know what, babe, I think I'm going to go to school, or you know what, I'm going to freaking be a bodybuilder, or like something, I'm
going to learn how to play the banjo.
Yes. So anything that where your partner is kind of leveling themselves up on their own accord. It wasn't like some bitch like, why don't you clean the fucking, closet, or, it's nothing like that. This is like a personal enrichment.
That voice. What was that?
I don't know who that is.
Clean the closet.
Wow, that's terrible.
But no, like when you're like when you feel it in you to do it, and then you as your partner get to see that. What?
If you're like, well, why did you do that? I'm like, because I felt like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, it's true.
For reals,
for
though.
reals.
Like, I felt like it, and it's I mean, we spent 1 hour meditating and breathing and talking. I can't give you a detailed breakdown of the effects, but I will say this. It was extremely familiar, super familiar, and easy to slip into the frame of mind and awareness. It wasn't like, whoa, this is alien. It was like, oh. Mm-hmm. And I think I even said to him at the end, we were talking, I was like, that was really easy to do because I've been doing it and not knowing I was doing that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. At every show we go to, that's where I'm ending up by the end of the show most times, and this was just no music and sitting on the floor of the studio. So
it's really cool, babe.
Yeah, it was
proud of you.
I'm
proud of you for reaching to a new height.
Yeah.
Without any outside influence, but your own internal longing.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Thanks, Phish. So
little miniature segue into after our last Monday episode, we mentioned and talked about how fantastic our Seattle trip was and how great those shows were, and spending time with our new friends and old friends. And marrying those two together and like bringing them together. And then we had a couple days at home, and
two. Yep.
Literally a couple days at home. And then we all, the three of us, Aaron, Apple, and I, flew to California and then drove up to Ventura for Skull and Roses. And that was a
trip.
You know,
What?
I don't even know
You're
why.
making yourself laugh.
I don't know why I'm laughing about it, but like, because in the state of mind that we were in, and then to go and do that, and to, you know, Skull and Roses, this is like No Simple Road working.
Yeah, it was work. We went to work.
This is a work trip. Yes, it's a business trip. Yes, it's a work trip. Yes, it's a festival. Yes, it's super fucking fun. Yes, it's all that stuff. But we're literally working. You know, we have, we're putting out a product. We are talking about the show. We're interviewing musicians. We are gathering content for Instagram and you know, our website and things also for us and for them, you know. And so,
and then also, like, during the interviews that we're doing, we're having to like create a vibe and a headspace and a thing on top of gathering content and creating Instagram and trying to have fun and connect with the people that are with us. And
yes,
it's a lot of work to do a festival like that. And 5
so
days is a long time to do that thing.
5
too.
days is so long. It is so long. And are we going to do a Skull and Roses recap?
Yeah, we're not going to do that here.
Yeah, we're not going to do a full Skull and Roses recap because it's not fair, because Apple's not here and he's a huge part of that. But, you know, I have to just talk about a few of my highlights, because after going to Skull and Roses and meeting the entire Latin Dead crew, which is our new family right now. They welcomed us into their family, and
his dad,
Derek,
Brendan's dad, Derek, said, "When are we all moving in together?" and he was like half kidding, half
serious. But you know, let me just say, when you any type of family, I don't care what ethnicity you are, but you bring new people into the family and the rest of the family checks you out, you know, like you're like, who's this chick or who's this dude coming in, you know? And when you can get received into a family and everybody's arms are open welcoming you, that's like an A+ report There's nothing
card.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when we met, so we got to Skull and Roses, there was some bullshit. And like I said, we'll do it on the recap with getting there and all. But when we finally got there, we go backstage, and some of the first people we see are Brendan and his dad. And actually, before we even got to backstage, we were still parking our car. I saw Brendan his car in the parking lot. And I was like, oh shit, that was Brendan from the Latin Dead. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, right there. And he was like, go say hi. So I jumped out of our car, ran over, and Brendan was like talking to like the security. And I was like, Brendan. And he was like so shocked, like to see me, and like, how the fuck where'd you come from? How'd you know it was me? Car. You know, like, so we see him there, and then we park, we split ways, whatever. About half an hour, 45 minutes later, we're walking in and we see Jenny. And so we're walking in together. Somehow we get separated because Susanna, you know, grabs Jenny for something. But then next thing you know, when we get backstage, we see Brendan and his dad and Scott from Garcia Birthday Band wearing a No Simple Road shirt. Hoodie. So like those two things in conjunction with each other was like so welcoming.
Yeah.
It was like, hey guys, you're here. We've been waiting for you. So we start talking. I start talking to this guy who hopefully this will be a really good connection for a later show, but we start talking to this guy. At least I do. And so I feel and see Brendan's dad, but I hadn't met him and I didn't know what he looked like. I just assumed it was him.
Right.
And he was talking to Apple and kind of like waiting to like hug me and talk to me. But I was in mid conversation with this other guy that I was talking to. And finally I was done. And when I turned and gave my attention to Derek, the look in his eye and the welcome open arms that he gave me, it was like my own family.
Yeah.
It was like my own family.
It was very, very familiar energy. It reminded me of your family.
It was like so sweet. And like, he was just like kind of tearing up and like grabbed me and was like so grateful. He's like, what you did for Brendan, and was just like so excited and to meet us. And like, it just, I clearly am like touched by it, but like, to have that, we never even met this guy in real life, you know what I mean? We never met them, and for them to be so grateful off of a conversation.
What is a city without its music?
The legacy of the New York Philharmonic is incredible.
Nearly 2 centuries of history. That's a lot of music and a lot of stories.
I was sitting on stage for the very first time thinking, I can't quite believe this is happening.
Join me, Jamie Bernstein, as we explore the history of the New York Philharmonic. It's the NY Phil story made in New York, a podcast about a city, its people, and their orchestra. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
That's what that was about. Like, we didn't loan him any money. We didn't like take him anywhere. We didn't give him any grand gift. He was stoked to meet us because of the conversation that we had with his son and how he felt us. He felt our vibe. He felt what we do. And I will never forget that. I'll never forget that hug and that through the course of the festival, it got deeper because we saw each other every day, and you know, we hugged it out more and more, and we got these amazing pictures and stuff. But like that initial meeting, and to feel that love from him again from a conversation, was like, I'll never fucking forget that. And I will always, for the rest of my life, they're my family.
Yep.
From now on.
And that's like one small piece. I mean, you talk to Sunshine Kesey, Trixie Garcia, and Robert Hunter's daughter.
Jess Hunter.
Yeah, all at the same time. Like, we interviewed Bill Walton.
Well, no, we did not.
I'm sorry. Bill Walton talked to us.
He talked at us.
Yeah. We got a million amazing minutes of great music.
Incredible
recorded.
Interview with Rosie McGee.
That's right.
Was so heartfelt and so, it was just strong.
Yeah, she's a badass.
There was, and then, you know, on a side note, and nothing to do with us, our sister Jenny is there working her little freaking tail to the bone, getting this strap on, this gorgeous new Skull and Roses strap on as many musicians as she can possibly get. And like seeing her smile and so happy, like we were having very similar moments, you know, for our own crafts.
Well, and we can't forget meeting our friends from Mount Tam Media.
Oh my gosh. So meeting Tammy and Dennis and Augie. That was a whole experience.
Other thing?
Listen, man. So before we left Skull and Roses, for Skull and Roses, a few weeks before that, we had gotten an email from this gentleman named Dennis, not Dennis McNally.
Well, from Dennis McNally, introducing us to Dennis.
I was just gonna spare them all the details, but we got an email. So Aaron's in talks with this guy Dennis, who also has a podcast called In the Green Room. From the Green Room, sorry. And he does it with his significant other, Tammy, who owns a media company, Mount Tam Media, and their best friend, or I should say Dennis's best friend, since they kind of grew up together, Augie. So they were kind of introducing, Dennis McNally introduced us one podcast to the next, and was like, hey, you know, From the Green Room's going to be at Skull and Roses, but we already have, you know, No Simple Road. So here's the introduction. You guys kind of work out the particulars on, you know, interviews and how you guys want to do this, and go. Right.
Yeah.
So this is just kind of like a few weeks. And so we're just like, oh shit, you know, No Simple Road we're solo. Not like we are always, we collaborate, we can do stuff, but like we do our own thing. We don't need anybody. We don't ask any, like, it's just our own thing. It's not even for any reason. It's just because there's already 3 of us and we have, differing opinions. So we don't need another perspective, but everything, we all have to grow. Everything has to grow. And doing that with Tammy and Dennis and Augie was a real huge, it was a challenge. It was an opportunity for growth.
Mm-hmm.
It was so unexpected, and like also it really underscored for me what No Simple Road really does have. Like, we really, really not only have a product of a show, but we have a certain energy field that when the 3 of us are together, we bring it with us.
Yeah. And it underscored the meaning of community and working together. Yeah. It was, working with another podcast while you're trying to do your own podcast is not an easy thing to figure out on the best of days.
On the fly.
Yeah. And I think we all did a great job of working together. They were very gracious
and
allowing
so
us into the interviews that they had scheduled. And it was great, man. It was cool.
I just want to say a thank you to them for doing that, for allowing us to be in conversation with the people that they had scheduled, and we did the same for them. And their equipment worked when ours didn't. Ours worked when theirs didn't.
That was a whole other thing.
There was so many things that threw curveballs into, being backstage is it's stressful. I don't think so. I'm going to paint the picture. If you're just backstage watching the concert from the side, smiling at everybody, that's not fucking stressful. It's super fun and great. But if you're backstage and you are working and you are trying to get a hold of artists before or after they're going on, when they're trying to set up or break down their stuff, and they've got so many people coming after them, wanting to take their picture, wanting them to do this, that, and the other.
Everybody wants to say hi.
Everybody wants to fucking say hi, and their family's there. And that is stressful, and it's hot, and you're hungry, and you're thirsty, and it's sunny. And there's all these elements why it can produce.
Yeah, it's all this stuff you don't think about.
You don't think about that. So yeah, if you just go backstage and you're like, hey, what's up? This is cute. Let's take a pic. Great. That's fucking fun. But when you're doing, like I said, a job that you're there to do, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That
I've learned, at least for myself, after this was our 3rd Skull and Roses.
Yeah.
And the media area is backstage. And so I've seen what happens quite a bit there at this particular festival. And I've learned I'm not pushing anybody to do anything.
Absolutely
ever.
not. I never want to do that.
Never, ever, because they're already trying to create a vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Their job, the musician's job when they go on that stage is to bring a vibe for all of us. That's it. And I do not want to be the guy that's responsible for XYZ artist coming off or going on stage fuck, I got to think about this interview. If we schedule it and they show up, cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I might even remind them the day of hey, 5:30.
Yeah, because you really do deal with all the stuff. Apple and I don't necessarily do the texting or the calling or anything like that. When we're there, I went and talked to Bill Walton's wife. Right. That's different, hey, we're over there waiting on him or something that's different when we're in person. But all the correspondence is going through you. Yeah. So you really have to, what's the word?
Division of labor?
No.
I don't know what you mean.
When you give divert or I can't think of the word.
Defer.
Thank you. We defer to you for all of that stuff.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. So yeah, I'm not, in years past, I would have been anxious about it. Oh my God, are they going to show up? Oh my God, I'm going to go look for it. This year I was if it's supposed to happen, they'll be here. And if it ain't supposed to happen, they won't be here.
Yeah.
And that's that. And like it that part of it made it a lot easier. We had a lot of a couple really critical equipment issues that caused me to
Go in a tailspin.
really get frustrated a couple of times. Like, fuck, man. And you know what I mean?
And when Aaron gets like, there's no consolation. Like I can't even offer him a quickie that'll take it away. Like he's in his like that zone. There's nothing that'll.
You know what it's like? It's like having a splinter for me, like a mental splinter until it's fixed.
Well, but like you're like that in general, because like if you lose something,
it's
like
same thing. Yeah, mental splinter until I find it.
So so like it's really challenging to be around Aaron during that time. For me, fantastic. I was like, I'm gonna go watch the music outside. Peace. And
I'm like, we're supposed to do a live stream, and the live streaming shit is not working. Like, what the fuck? And took it to the place to get it fixed.
Yeah, we really went.
Got it fixed and got home, and it wasn't fucking working again. I was so hot. Yeah. So hot.
It is frustrating. I'm not going to pretend like it wasn't.
And we paid for that shit.
Yeah, like, I paid. I remember that. Yeah. And we haven't been able to successfully use it.
That's not true. We used it at Peach. We live streamed Peach.
Okay.
It worked great.
So we have successfully used it, but since Peach, it's been very challenging. And like when we try to use it at Dick's, it was kind of like the same scenario with Skull and Roses. We wanted to be more mobile with it. We didn't want to just stay stationary. And that's what it was when we were at Peach. We were doing these, interviews, and it was working great because we were stationary. But to try to move around and catch patches of cell communication, and it was just tough. It's tough.
So. All that at Skull and Roses, we leave Sunday and go down to the Hollywood Bowl for Phish.
Before you get into that, because that's really special and I want to be present for that, but I want to say one story because I don't know if I'll get an opportunity during the recap. So we interview our dogs in a pile, and I noticed when we first interviewed them, and their set was freaking phenomenal. Okay. Like that's all I'm going to say about it. We'll talk about it later. But so they get off stage, we gather everybody up, and this is one of those interviews that we are doing from the green room and us and dogs. So there's a lot of people there. There's a lot. And we all sit down, and then I noticed somebody that wasn't from any one of our camps. There was, all of dogs guys.
And a floater.
And a floater guy. And he actually kind of was standing for a while and then sat down and was like paying attention, like listening. And so, okay, interview's done. We're hugging, taking photos, blah, 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 whatever. And I noticed you talking to this guy first, Lenny. And you guys talked for a few minutes, and then Aaron and I was like standing next to Aaron, and Aaron went to go talk to one of the dogs guys, and Lenny and I started talking, and he was saying, hey, you guys did a really good job at taking a really chaotic, environment and creating a really intimate space. And I was like, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I go, that's what we do. Like that is what No Simple Road is. I think that's our magic, is like we create a vibe wherever we're at. And he's like, that's not an easy thing to do. I've been in radio for over 30 years. And the last 5 I was at Sirius Satellite. And I created this show with Bill Walton. And let me tell you something, it is not an easy thing to do. And so then I started just saying, look, Aaron and Apple, we're just having this incredible conversation. I didn't really know who I was talking to yet. Like I didn't get the scope until he said that the radio thing. I was like, okay, so, but still then the Bill Walton thing came a little bit later. So I'm like, okay, this guy's like, he's connected. Yeah. He's somebody who knows some stuff, and clearly he was a teacher, because he started saying, well, some of my students that I talk to, or that I teach, I tell them to do exactly what you just described, is getting to know the person that you're interviewing instead of what their accomplishments are. Everybody is privy to what they're doing because that's why they're being interviewed. They know that the movie, they know about the music or whatever they're famous for or being interviewed for. But who is this person that did this? And I was like, that's always my thought. I want to know about, I go, so see right now, if we were going to interview Lenny, maybe Aaron and Apple would ask about your career. I'd be like, are you married? Do you like, how did you get into that? What did like, I would be asking Lenny how we can get on Sirius XM. That's what I would be doing. So we were, him and I are like talking and he was like, that's it right there. He's like, long story short, Lenny and I had a good 15, 20-minute conversation about all the stuff that I'm telling you. And I walked away with the feeling and the notion and the assurance that what we do is so important for our listeners and the people who come across No Simple Road. I think it's important for us. I'm not done. And for I used to just think that this was just an outlet and a fun thing to do with our weekends and a cool thing to get to do. But we're doing something that's of huge impact. And him as a journalist and as an interviewer and as a radio personality, really him telling me about his 30-year career and that's what we're doing without realizing it, it validated me. It validated, oh, we're just doing this fun thing and it's just cool and great and we get to go to concerts and we're at this festival. And I never really thought about it as true work. Do you know what I mean? I get that's me. That's too. Melanie. That's not Apple and you. This is my perspective. I never thought about it as valid work, even though I know it is. We're sitting in here right now. We're working. Yeah, I know. There's other stuff to be done right now too. I know the sacrifice that what we do takes, but just hearing it from some outside source that I don't know who's in that profession, who barely knows us. He's never listened to a show. No. And so I gave him Skull and Roses Part 1. I sent it to him. And it was freaking dope. And I said that we'll later on, after Skull and Roses weeks down the line, we'll reconnect and hopefully have him on the show. You know what, Mel? For me, it's But I just wanted to say that story because I think it's important. We talk about our realizations in life and you were talking about with Luke and stuff like that. This is a big realization for me, the Skull and Roses, meeting Derek and Brendan and that just everybody that we met there and you the validation. What this is. Yes. More. And not I didn't. Just deeper. I was saying, for me, this whole thing, it's doing something for us, right? I see it. I see what it's done for Apple and for you and now for me. So it makes sense that it can do something out there too. Do you get what I mean by that? Yes. If this thing is changing us, then that ripple is going out. Yeah. And I never really thought about hearing from somebody else like that. I never thought about it. Me either. It's well, I'm here seeing it and that's dope. You know what I mean? And I don't like to wait for compliments. No, you're not like that. I don't like. I'm. You're not like that. There's something about me that I don't need approval. I don't need that. No, but hearing job well done from somebody in the industry that you're working in, who's a professional, and you're like, oh shit, we're doing this thing. I totally get it. Yeah, it was like a pat on the back in the best kind of a way. Skull and Roses was amazing. And so I just wanted to mention those couple little things because those were two of the, and there was another one also that I will talk about later on, but these few not incidents, but these few interactions that I had were so monumental for me and pivotal for me. And I just wanted to share that because that's what we do we share the monumental stuff that goes on in our life, And on that note, then we go down to Hollywood Bowl to see Phish with our daughter and our son-in-law. And
I mean, talk about experience. All I know is the car ride driving you and Apple home from Studio City at midnight.
Oh my gosh.
We rented this like
Chrysler
300 luxury car they gave us. And it was like a fucking spaceship.
Yep.
And
the sound in that vehicle.
I was still a little elevated from the show. And Mel's like, don't put any music on when we first got in the car. And I was like, no. I got this. Everybody just be quiet.
No, okay.
I got this.
If anybody's ever ridden with Aaron, you're going to hear Goose, you're going to hear Phish, or you're going to hear The Dead. And that's generally a variation of those. Sure, there's other stuff that goes on, but that's
not true. There's bluegrass in there. There's other stuff.
I just
Okay.
said that.
Okay.
I just said that. But 85.9% is going to be those three things.
Okay,
and
fair
after
enough.
seeing that, I don't want to even
I felt the same way.
hear anything
I was like,
that.
no more Phish tonight. And
I don't want input.
Yeah.
I want comfort.
Yeah.
You know?
You're like, don't put any music on. I'm like, hold on. Hey, hold the phone. And I go on Apple Music and I was like, ooh, I know exactly what I want to hear right now. And I put on, there's a remix of Kid A on Apple Music that is fucking amazing. And from the first couple of notes, like we're pulling out of the neighborhood in that, and it sounded like aliens were fucking landing in our car.
I cannot express to you all out there the rightness.
Everything in its right place.
It was so right. Everything's right. Just hold tight. Everything in its right place. Everything was perfect.
Yeah. Floating home on the freeway with that music playing and like surround sound in the car. I turned it up really loud.
Yeah.
And then driving, if you know anything about LA, the Los Angeles area, driving from Studio City into Topanga Canyon, like most of the way into Topanga Canyon is where our
Sydney
daughter
lives straight up in Topanga
Yeah,
Canyon. Like
and
you have to like spiral
drive up the side of a mountain.
Yes.
And like foggy, dark ass, windy road with Radiohead playing, spun out of our minds.
I thought you said you were a little.
Well, it was amazing. Totally amazing. And I don't want to get into a full like thing about the show because we're an hour in already and we haven't recapped Skull and Roses and we
No, I think that we should recap this. We'll
and
end
Apple's
with this.
not here.
It's okay because we're going to talk about Skull and Roses and he can talk about his experience at the show. But we should definitely talk about Phish at the Hollywood Bowl with our freaking daughter. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
First of all, Jasper, that sweet little angel heart, gives Grandma Nunu the biggest guilt trip right before we leave. The first thing he says to me is, why don't you want to spend time with your whole family? Only your daughter.
Why do you
only
go to
like going to concerts? And so that he wanted to spend time with us. He thought that this was the trip that we were going to go take him to Legoland and spend days with him and have fun. And because when you're a kid, you don't know trips are different. Like, oh no, it's the next time we come. No, he doesn't know that. So I was feeling a little blue about that because once I saw him, I was like, fuck Phish. I don't give a fuck. Where are we? Like, I was just like in full new mode. And I meant it. If I would have stayed with Jasper, I would have had just as good as the night. But this was special. This was us and Adam and Sydney. And we've been planning this and been wanting this for so long. And so we took Jasper to the sitter's house, which was awesome. And so that split up the group. Aaron and Apple went one way because I wanted to spend every moment I could with Jasper. So I went with Sydney and Adam to drop Jasper off at the babysitters. And how cool is it when your babysitter is the keyboard player for Swim?
Yeah, right.
You know, like that's who you're going to go spend the night with while your mom's hanging out with her mom at Phish. Like what kind of cute life is that? So, okay. me, Adam, and Sid get there. We park, or we take an Uber, and we get there, and we call Aaron. Aaron's on his way. A few minutes. Okay, boom. We go walking to the Hollywood Bowl, and I was wearing my beautiful green tie-dye, the Great North Special. Shout out to Russell and the Great North and Chantel and all the guys from Great North Special. I just felt like wearing it. I wanted to wear it. It was not necessarily a statement, but I just wanted to wear it. And the very first eyes that I locked, because I was like, I got to go to the bathroom, Sid. She's like, me too. So we're like trying to find the bathroom. Lock eyes, Russell and his beautiful wife, Chantel. What?
You're wearing the shirt. Of course you're going to run into him.
The first person,
of
though.
Of course, though.
The very first. I was like, what? And he was so grateful.
Like you're wearing a beacon. It's so weird. I ran into him.
But it was just, 20, however many.
I know.
1,000
but
people,
you get where
right?
I'm coming from.
I get it. I totally understand. But still, it was just really amazing. So we go to the bathroom. We're whatever. We cute, take our pictures. Adam was a little bit tired because they had a party the night before. And so they were a little tired and there was stuff going on. So we're sitting there waiting for you to show up. And the next thing you know, I look up and there you and Apple are walking up. And at this point, I don't know that Sydney and Adam are fully into it at all. They're fine to be where they're at, but they're not. They
weren't like, yeah, let's go.
No. They were not in that kind of a party mode.
Like, okay,
they were definitely more subdued.
Go get a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. So
what time's this over?
We're sitting down and this guy next to us, I had stood up to talk to Aaron for a second, but I guess when I did, he went to Sydney. He was like, hey, do you want to see something super cute? And she was like, yeah. He's like, look at my dog Radar. And he starts showing her his puppy. And the reason I'm even saying this story is because Sydney started to understand after we saw Russell, and then we're sitting there.
I saw Luke.
We hadn't seen Luke yet, but this random guy is like, look at this, and she started to understand the vibe, the family vibe. She was starting to get what Phish is about. And it made me so happy, like I said, because they were definitely, their energy was, like I said, a little subdued and kind of tired. They're parents now. They have a different life. Okay, cool. So they had their cute little interaction. We're going, okay, we're going to go to our seats. Let's go. So we go and we're walking up to get in line to walk in. And then who do we bump into but Luke and his friend? And we're like, holy shit. So that stops us. And I was like, Sid, this is the guy I was telling you about when we met him at, such and such. He's like, oh, okay, whatever. So we stop, we take pictures. We say we're going to see each other inside. We park, we do it. We go in and we get to our seats. And
hold on.
Go ahead.
Everybody that was around us was the guy in front of us turns out he's the guy that is one of the people that's in charge of getting campers set up at Oregon Country Fair. Other guy next to me is from Portland. We exchanged numbers. He's coming over to dinner soon. Cam from Instagram. I got to look up his Instagram real quick. It's he does the jaded Phish vet videos.
Oh,
his name is hang on a second.
That's right.
Mr. Cam at Mr. Cam on Instagram. We had watched one of his jaded vet videos in Seattle with Jamie, and you and I were cracking up.
Mm-hmm.
And I look, it's him. He's sitting in front of us
with like his girlfriend and
people
his posse.
in back of us are from Oregon.
It was
and Sydney and Adam were just like, I could see on their faces like, how the fuck do they know all these people?
Yeah, there was like so many people that we just. Well, first of all, we didn't know any of those people that you just said.
No,
we met them, but if you guys know, you go to a Phish show, it's like we're meeting, but it's not like the first time, right, kind of, you know, like we're meeting and it's like, oh, hey, so yeah, this. Well, then there was this lady that was sitting next to us that I don't know where she was from, but she got infatuated with us,
with Sid,
with me and Sydney, and we're starting to tell her stories and stuff like that. So the show's amazing. We're having a great time. And then
it's set break was the coolest thing for me as her dad to see. Set break's weird, right? You're a little sprung or a lot, and the lights come on and now everything's weird and there's no music. But set break is when people have a chance to connect with everybody around them.
Yeah.
And I saw my daughter like going from person to person around her, hanging out like she'd been going to shows forever.
And I think being in LA and being such a young, beautiful girl, Sydney's guards are always up.
Oh, yeah.
Always. And that's what sucks about being a pretty girl, because everybody's like, oh, she's a bitch. No, we have to be like that. You have to kind of be like that. Otherwise you get people like, so what's your number? Like, you have to kind of put off this fucking, facade. But she was like
chilling,
friendly, and it was such a sweet side of her that we don't get to see, especially in public like that.
And to see her grooving. Like, I've seen my daughter dance her whole life. I saw my daughter groove. And it was dope as fuck. And when they busted out that no quarter.
So set break ends, and then we're into, second set, right? They had to leave a little bit early to go pick up Jasper. And right before they were about to leave, they start the freaking no quarter. And Adam looks over at me and just the look in his shock. And Sydney just, the look on both of their faces, and there's a video to accompany this.
The video's on our Instagram.
Oh, it's not, yeah, okay. So if you
have to watch
you got to watch to the very end,
the Hollywood Bowl one.
It's pretty long, but Apple was able to get it. Thank you, Apple. We love you for that. And before they left, so then no quarter finishes after this freaking incredible version. Adam comes to me. He gives me a hug before he leaves. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I liked Phish. It was good, but that
I'm a fan.
Made me love them."
Yep.
And that's what we heard. That's what they said walking on the way out. And that, like, I was just so proud and so happy. And they got to see people coming up to us and like, hey, no simple. Sydney got to see that. I think Simon got to see a lot more because people come to the house and stuff like that. But I don't think that Sydney ever really got to experience that. And it was another type of validation for us as parents and what we do. And she
understands who we are. Yeah. And she digs it.
Yeah. And she digs it. She likes the community aspect of it and stuff. So that was really special.
Then the next morning, so we party at Phish with our daughter. We go home. We get home at like 12:30. Fall asleep at like 1, get up at 5:30 in the morning, drive to LAX, drop off the rent-a-car, take the shuttle from the rent-a-car place to the airport, fly home. Mel and I spend one night in our bed. The next morning we get up and we drive to Eugene, check into the hotel for Goose, and off we go again.
And that's it. That's where we're going to leave you, because we'll talk about Goose when Apple's back and he'll talk about the wedding.
I want to say one last thing before we stop.
No, I'm just mean like
okay.
we're not going to get into that. That'll be our ending point.
This past weekend, Apple was gone down in California and still is. Ryder was working, and you and I had the opportunity to be home alone for the first time in a long time. And like Saturday morning, we woke up leisurely. I was so excited Friday night as we were.
He was so excited talking about, and like right before we were going to bed, he's like, "Oh my God, we can sleep in tomorrow."
I was like, "Do you know what we get to do tomorrow?" And she's like, "What?" And I was like, "Whatever the fuck we want." She was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "And we get to sleep in. There's no alarm tomorrow." Which, I mean, come on, that's not very common around here. No. So we wake up, have coffee. Mel's like, "What do you want to do today?" It's like, "I don't know. You want to go to Saturday market?" She's like, "Yeah, that sounds fun." It was like the quintessential Portland spring day.
It was
like
amazing.
Cobalt blue sky, not a cloud to be seen.
Nope.
80 degrees, perfect weather, little warm.
Little tickle breeze here and there.
All the trees are like blasting with blossoms. The air smells like spring. perfect day. We go down to the waterfront, go get lunch at the Saturday market, which is crazy. Saturday market is so cool. It's like all artisan stuff like pottery and jewelry and tie-dyes. It's like Shakedown, but every Saturday.
It's like a big shakedown.
Yeah.
It truly is.
And we go down there. What do we get? I got a falafel.
You got a falafel and I got a plate, and then we shared.
Sat in the grass.
Yeah, we sat
watched
in the grass.
the drum circle.
And we were dog watching. That's basically what we were doing. We were looking at the Columbia River, sitting on the grass, listening to drums and watching cute dogs and their owners running around.
Came home, barbecued, hung out. It was amazing.
Why did you feel like you needed to say that?
Just having time alone with you is worth mentioning. Yeah.
That's sweet, baby.
We don't get to do that very often.
No.
And it's fun. It is fun to have the house to ourselves,
It is
man.
fun.
Like,
it's really fun. And then we had Cody and Bree came over. That was so sweet and special. You guys, we're just really grateful for our life right now.
yeah.
Like I
And
think
for
that
you guys.
for you guys even caring to listen. Like we said, we put that on Instagram, and not a lot, but we got a couple people being like, oh man, the fact that anyone says, oh man, if an episode doesn't come out, that's freaking rad for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, we didn't want to do it because we didn't want to do it without Apple, but like, we're still here. Mom and Dad are still here.
Well, and I'll tell you, like, the 100% reason why we're doing this right now is because I said I promise in the post yesterday. And
well, I would have not let you to. I would have been like, no, we
at
need
the
to
end
do
of the
it.
day, all you have is your word. So I had
Yeah.
given my word, so I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, so I just want to say I love everybody for listening and paying attention to what we say and enjoying it, and I'm really grateful for our life, and I'm going to do the best that I can, keep forward going,
And hey,
forward
man,
motion.
I think the moral or a theme of this week's episode is do shit when you feel like it. Yeah, man. Like, don't do shit when you don't feel like it.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless you have to, then you got to do it. But otherwise, just do stuff when you feel like it.
Yeah.
Not because somebody told you to. Like, as soon as you tell me to, now I don't want to do it. A lot of the time, like you have to do. Oh,
There's some times where people tell you to do good stuff, and it's good to
that's
take
true.
advice.
But like going back to the office, if they had been like, you guys can just come in and go whenever you want, like I probably wouldn't have cared. I would just go into the office every once in a while and be like, this is cool. But they were like, you got to come into the office 3 days a week. Now I'm like, I don't want to fucking do that anymore. You guys, fuck you. You said I have to do it. Now I don't want to. So do stuff when you feel like it, man. And yeah, if No Simple Road is part of your weekly routine, that's
thank you.
completely mind-blowing to me, first of all. But second of all, thanks.
Mhm.
I mean, for real, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And we'll be back on Friday. We won't be late
we
this
won't
week.
be. Yeah, we don't have no reason to be late.
No. I mean, unless, like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, we're not going to say unless.
Something
We're going to
crazy
do it.
happens.
We're doing
Mel's
it.
mom will be here.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe we'll have a guest Wela appearance.
Oh my gosh. If
That'd be the funniest shit ever.
literally, you guys, if my mom ever got on this microphone,
She's been on the show.
yeah, she's been on the show through
Mother's Day.
on the phone, but like in real life, here would be monumental and hilarious and crazy.
We might have to.
And
make that
everybody would
happen.
have to turn their sound down at least.
way down. Wela is a force of nature.
You know what my mom is like? When you've
Tsunami.
ever seen a dam break, whatever broke that dam, that's my mom. that's the nature that my mom is.
That's the fucking truth.
Right? That's
Yeah.
the best one
Oh,
I could
yeah.
think of.
She's a tsunami wrapped in a cyclone.
Yeah, so if you guys think about it this week, throw my mom some love and some good energy because she really could use it.
Yeah.
And also, and while you're in that mindset, throw your own family and your own mom some love and some goodness because we all freaking need good vibes.
So there it is.
Yeah.
Good loving.
Good love.
We'll be back on Friday with another episode of No Simple Road. And until then, smile at stranger, safety third, hydrate, take care of yourselves. And hey, if you own a pet, it's springtime, right? It's getting warmer out. It's time to wash your dog.
Yeah. Give him a good brush.
Give him a good brush and a nice bath. Make them feel fancy. Get those nails clipped if they'll let you clip their nails. And then you'll have a happy dog.
Yeah.
And we're going to do the same.
Yep.
We love you guys. We'll see you Friday. Peace. Peace.
But it's a burden. Felony just been deferred, and hella means been the earth, and alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a newborn. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so commitment, so resilient, or haven't you learned it? No simple road. 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 My windshield is shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A equal A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Hey listeners, I want to tell you about the April-May 2023 issue of Relics magazine. Features a Dave Matthews Band cover story with additional articles and interviews with The National, Graham Nash, Wayne Shorter, ALO, Ivan Neville, our friend Eric Fresno and Stanton Moore, Marty Stewart, and much more. Check out the latest version of Relics and subscribe now at relics.com/DMB. Thanks, Relics.
Hey, what's up? This is Blake Weiland. I'm the host of the Tone Mob Podcast. It's a show where I interview guitar people about guitar stuff. We talk about their pedals, their amps, their accessories, their preferences, all that stuff, as well as a healthy dose of whatever comes up. Topics have ranged from aliens to addiction and anywhere in between. Oh yeah, and pizza. We're definitely going to be talking about pizza. So get the show wherever you're listening to this podcast at. Just search The Tone Mob in your search bar and it will pop right up. Come join us. We're having a lot of fun. Thanks for checking it out.